Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. I am finally back with my weekly wrap up. I had to take a break last week because me and my family went to Hawaii, which was just so amazing. So I couldn't do a weekly wrap up last week. So this is actually a 2-week wrap up, but don't be too scared. I hope it's not going to be too long. I hope, because I actually didn't get a lot of reading done in Hawaii. I was just living my best life there and I didn't get a lot of reading done. But I still have 12 books to talk about for the 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and quickly get started with my weekly wrap up. Okay guys, so I am so sad to be back home and back to reality. Hawaii was amazing. I got to see my son after not seeing him for a year since he's moved out of state. Just the whole family together. I did recently post something on TikTok with like some footage from Hawaii. I'm going to try and post that here for you guys as well. But Hawaii was fantastic. I have my little Westin Hapuna Beach and Resort. That's where we stayed. It was gorgeous. But now back to real life. So that's what's sad. So tomorrow I have to go back to work. I took 2 weeks off though, which was really needed. And I was so happy to get that break. But now I don't really want to go back. Anyways, I need to get started here because I don't want to make this video too long. And I do have 12 books to talk about. So kind of like my weekly wrap-ups, but it's 2 weeks. So I thought I would have read so much more in Hawaii. I thought I'm just going to be vegging out, like drinking on the beach. And really, like, I didn't get a lot done. But that's fine. That's what vacation's for. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. These are all the books that I read from July 13th to July 26th. So let's go ahead and dive into all my reads. Okay. So the first book that I read was an ARC. It was a novella. This is The Sleepover by Daisey Jane. This one is part of like a series with a bunch of different authors. They're all doing like novellas set in this like country club kind of setting. And this one I really wanted to get because it was like a stepbrother romance. And I always love trying stepbrothers. I only read Daisey Jane once before, and that was for a buddy read, and I did not like it. But they told me that it wasn't like her usual one, so I wanted to give her like another chance. This one didn't blow me away or do a lot for me. Now that is tough with novellas, but mostly it was like the choices of the heroine really frustrated me. But this is in, oh, I didn't think I'd bring it up, but it was the Clearview Country Club series. So a bunch of different authors doing these spicy novellas. So in this one, we have Reed and Vivian. And Vivian, I believe they lived on like the West Coast. See, this is 2 weeks back, so I'm trying to remember. But I think she lived on like with her dad on the West Coast, and he was in this long distance relationship. They like met online, and he's like really in love with this woman. And her senior year of high school, he basically breaks the news that like they're picking up and moving to go live with his girlfriend, because they are actually they're gonna get married. And so she's actually like the good girl, Vivian. She's, you know, virgin, really good girl, always does what her dad tells her, and she's, you know, lived by the rules and all that kind of stuff. And at first she's like irritated, but she's really happy for her dad. But she's annoyed because now she's leaving all her friends her senior year and starting over. So when they get, I think it's in Florida, I can't remember, I'm sorry. But when they get there, the woman's really nice. She has a son, but he isn't there yet. And she ends up, they take her shopping and stuff. They're trying to get her stuff to like set up her room so that she can feel at home. And she meets this girl and they kind of hit it off. And so she invites her to go to the beach, to a beach party. And she goes, and she ends up meeting this guy, Reed, there. He's like this really cute, sexy, like smart. I think he was in his first year of college, if I'm remembering correctly, but he's like one of their, you know, just a year older than that group. And he's got glasses and she's just very into him. And so she decides she wants to lose her virginity. She wants to do something, not following the rules. And so this is where I was like, seriously, Daisy Jane, because this girl is a virgin, knows nothing, but then she wants to lose her virginity on the beach. Ugh, I hate it when we have beach sex in books. It's never going to be good, and it's not going to be good for the woman. Sand gets everywhere. No, thank you. And your virginity? Could we go somewhere? I mean, I'd rather have them go in the back seat of a car than do this beach sex. And they don't have like a blanket or anything, so he literally takes off like his shirt and clothes and stuff, and they use that to have sex on. And then he literally has to shake the sand out of it and put it back on. I mean, no. Anyways, mini rant. I just hate that. That didn't ruin the book or anything. I hate that in romances. It drives me nuts. But lo and behold, she ends up meeting her stepbrother the next day, and it's Reed. Well, Reed actually dropped her off at home, so he figured out who she was pretty quickly. And now it's like they can't, because they're going to be stepbrother, stepsister. The parents aren't even married yet, but they're like really drawn to each other, and like, oh, we can't tell them. Nobody can know. So it's like that whole thing, and like, we can never be together. But then she keeps trying to get stuff going, and then it's like, oh, well, this is the last time. We can never do this again. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And then, of course, she accidentally gets pregnant. And what was crazy is what Daisy Jane did with the end of this and how she handles that pregnancy that, like, really pissed me off. So that kind of ruined it for me. It was going to be, like, maybe a 4-star, but then Vivian's actions were just so immature and so annoying and ridiculous. She like starts dating another guy and is going to cover like up her pregnancy with him, and it just didn't make sense. And so it really frustrated me. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And I'm kind of being vague. I guess I did tell you. I'm sorry. I probably spoiled like her issues, but I'll try to remember to put a spoiler thing with what I just said about what she does with the pregnancy, because it was so stupid, because parents would have they were fine with them. Like, they weren't even married yet. You could have like told them the truth and been together. It's not that big of a deal. You guys didn't grow up as living in the same house. That's when I get irritated with step romances, because I want it more taboo. If you saw, I just posted my stepbrother romance video rec, and I bring it up there. Like, I want it to be where they, live together. So it's taboo, not like, oh, our parents just got married and now we can't be together. That's not as taboo. Anyway, sorry. So I ended up giving that one 3 stars and 2.5 chilies. It was surprisingly not as smutty as I was expecting from what I've heard about Daisy Jane. So maybe she like kind of tamed it down a little bit for this one. But not my jam. I'm not giving up on Daisy Jane, though, because I do want to try some of her other books. I just think this novella wasn't really for me. Okay, so then I had an ALC, and I had Where We Bloom by Kristen Proby. Now, this is the 3rd book in the Blackwells of Montana series. I got this audiobook with Must Love Audio, which I love Must Love Audio. I just, the amount of audiobooks, the caliber, the narrators, like really good books. I'm just so lucky that I get those now. But anyways, I've never read this author before. And so I had no idea about like the previous books or anything, but I think you can go into this as a standalone. Now, this is about I'm jumping ahead. This is about Connor and Billy, and I will say that they have had a one-night stand in a previous book. So I didn't get to really see that go down, but I'm sure you just kind of hear about it. Have no idea. So I didn't really feel like I was missing a lot, because you could feel their like chemistry and connection right off the bat. But basically Billy is a very curvy, feisty, badass woman. I really loved her. She owns her own like bookstore, and she's trying to build it and do extra things for it, but she doesn't come from a lot of money, and I just love her. She loves looking good and going to like secondhand stores to get name brand stuff, and she just really takes care of herself. I just loved her character. And her and Connor had actually had a one-night stand previously. He is older, he's a billionaire, He's very sexy. He comes from Ireland, so he's got the Irish accent. And he, I think it's her friend. Hold on, let me write my notes here real quick. Oh, yeah. So Billy is his sister's best friend. So now they are like constantly run into each other. And so she's like not having any of it though, because he doesn't really want a relationship. He's very 100% focused on his career. And so she's not going to take that though. She's like, I'm not just here for you to F and leave. Like, I want more. And so nothing was really going on with them, but they really are drawn to each other. And so he can't stay away from her. So eventually they start to be together and he starts wooing her. And this man, oh, he is so sweet and swoony and spoils her and wants to take her shopping. And I mean, I want this man, this billionaire, who is just so swoony. And so he's very protective, and they just start this really beautiful relationship. They really communicate about everything. Like, he steps up. Once he finally realized he wanted to be in this relationship, he completely stepped up. It was just really, really cute, and I loved it. This one was narrated by Connor Craze and Emma Wilder, and Connor Craze does an amazing Irish accent. It was so good. Chef's kiss. Loved it so much. So this one I gave 5 stars and 3 chilies. It was amazing. Okay, so then I had an arc, and this is Striking by Bella Matthews. This is the 7th book. It's the 7th and final book in the Red Lips and White Lies series. Again, I love Bella Matthews. I love reading. I need to get to all her first generation because I've been reading all her second generation characters for this Croydon Hills, and I just love it. She has very like low angst, cute sports billionaire type of books. And they're just really nice, you know, break from like my dark mafia romance kind of crap. So I definitely recommend her if you haven't tried her yet. They're very easy to get into. And this one is between Reese Windsor, and he is actually the next in line. So this is a royalty romance. He's the next in line to the throne. The previous book was about his sister, and so now this is his romance. And Bellamy is one of the many second generation kids of all these couples from Bella Matthews' world. And so like they end up running into each other because Bellamy is actually a nurse, but she's trying to get like, I can't remember which RN or master's or something that she was about to take a test for. And they do like a vacation. It happened to be like, you know, his sister in his place that the friends went to, but Bellamy's kind of like there on her own, and he shows up. And they kind of get to talking, and he offers her a really good opportunity because the reason she was trying to do more is because she had cancer, a type of cancer when she was younger. She was very sick, almost died. And so she really wants to devote and do more for the cancer patients, like offer more to them and their families than what they normally get. And so he offers her this big opportunity to kind of do something like that in his country where he's eventually going to be the king. His grandfather is currently the king. And so he just says, come with me, you know, for a little bit, like a week or so, and I'll show you what it's about, and we can figure something and see if it's a good fit for you. You could do so much more with what I'd be able, you know, with what I'd give you access to than what you're doing now. And so it's like an amazing opportunity for her. So she goes with him, and they definitely have a lot of chemistry. They're really feeling each other, and they get pretty drunk one night and married, which he's going to be the king. So, you know, she freaks out, like, we got to get an annulment, but they don't allow that in the country. They don't allow divorce, especially for the king. And then his grandfather happens to pass away like the very next day. So it's like a circus, and she kind of has to stay behind, but also he wants her to still be his wife. He's very into her. And so she has to figure out like what her life's going to be now. And she's going to be the future queen. What does that look like? Or the queen. And so, but it was very low angst. There was very spicy. There was even some kitty slapping in this, which was amazing. I didn't expect that in a Bella Matthews, but it was so sweet. Very low angst. Another good addition. And I can't wait to see what Bella Matthews does next. So that one I gave 4.5 stars. and 2.5 chilies, and it was a great time. Okay, so then I had another ALC, and I listened to Chasing Shelter by Cowles. This is actually the 5th book in the Sparrow Falls series, and it's my first time reading any books in the series. I've only read one Cowles book in the past, and I really want to read more from her. It's been like my goal to finally read more Cowles and kind of dive into her backlist, because I know she's like really beloved. I'm not like super into the whole romantic suspense stuff, but I've really gotten more into it now that I've fallen in love with like small town romances. So I was kind of surprised I even got this one, since I haven't read like any of the other ones. You could definitely go in as a standalone, I think, but I think you would probably get more if you knew this whole family, because this is about the Coulsons, and like I think, okay, so like Trace Coulson is the sheriff, and he was kind of like adopted, taken in by them, and I don't know if the whole family is. So again, I'm not the best to give you the whole background because I haven't read the other books, but in this we have Trace Coulson, and I think it's Ellie, right? Yes, Ellie. And Ellie is like, her father, I think, is like the bad guy in previous books in this series. And he's like really controlled her life, forced her to like live a certain way. Her mom died when she was young. So she's like got a really tragic background. And I think her dad's like actually in prison at this point. Well, he is in prison. But I don't know everything that he did from the previous books. So again, I'm kind of in the dark about a lot of stuff, but I still really loved this because Ellie has lived that kind of lifestyle, and she was kind of forced into this like marriage of convenience. They weren't married yet. It was like she was a fiance, and she ends up leaving him and coming to Sparrow Falls because he like hit her, and she was like, nope. And she put her foot down and left him. And so now her brother is engaged to Trace's sister, and so now she's come there to kind of start fresh, and her brother kind of sets her up as a neighbor to Trace because he's like the sheriff and he wants her to be like protected and be near somebody. And so Trace is actually the sheriff, and he is a single dad. And I loved it because, like, at first he tries to come off all grumpy and, like, not want her there. But she immediately, like, has this great bond with his daughter. And it just steals his heart. And I just loved it because Ellie, like, always had to live her black and white, like, perfect little life. And she never got to have the color she wanted. So she was doing things like painting a rainbow on her wall that she never got to do, like... You know, she had like her multicolored hair now. She wanted a butterfly garden. So it was just great to see her like coming into her own. And her and Trace were really great together. It was just super sweet. I love watching them all kind of like bond together. But there is, of course, a romantic, like a suspense element because there is a stalker. But we don't know, is it her ex or Trace's like evil dad? Because he had this horrible dad that was in prison. And like... he had, I think his dad had killed his mom, or she like helped her overdose, and then she did something. I can't fully remember. I'm sorry. But, and then made his son like bury her body. So like this guy is a monster, and he has just been released. So there's that suspense element that comes into play here. I did think the suspense element like twist was kind of a little over the top, but I just really loved this book, so I didn't like detract anything for it. I just kind of expect that. Maybe that's a usual with Cowles. I have no idea. But I ended up giving this one 5 stars and 2.5 chilies. This one was narrated by Jason Clark and Desiree Ketchum, and it was a fantastic audiobook, so highly recommend. And I really want to go back and read the other books in this series now. Okay, so then I had another arc, and this was Savage Revenge by Kate Oliver. This is the first book in the Savage Sin series, and this is my first book by this author, and I was really hooked from the start. It took me a while to get through it because I was on vacation, so I wasn't really reading as much as I wanted to. That was the same with Striking. Like, usually I can get Belle Matthews done in a day, and it took me a bit because I wasn't really focusing on reading, but they're still great books. So I had a lot of great books for this wrap up. I have a lot of good books. So I don't know if it was my mood because I was so happy being in Hawaii, or if it just went this way. But anyways, this is a kind of like, it's kind of like a new setup to a mafia romance series. I've never read this author before, so I was intrigued. And this is about Cash, and it's going to be him and his brothers. They all run this like entertainment company. He is like the CEO after his dad passes, and his like brothers are CFO, COO. But they basically run like all like the casinos, hotels, restaurants. They have like all the entertainment stuff they own. So they have a big business. They're billionaires and all of that. And Cash's dad was actually just murdered. And they're trying to figure out who did it. And they think it was his like business rival that like his father ended up getting the girl that he wanted. And then they were always going after each other. And so they have some evidence, and I think it's him. And so they decide the best way he's going to get to him is he's going to kidnap his son, Jordan. He never really saw Jordan. The other son he usually did see, but he wasn't at home, so he decides to kidnap Jordan. Well, Jordan's a girl, and she's a curvy, feisty little bitch. She is a smart businesswoman, but her dad always like kept her behind the scenes. He like wouldn't let her be to her full potential because she's a woman, and so he only like ever had her brother do stuff. And her father and brother are like actually out of the country right now. So Cash and his brothers kidnap Jordan. And they drug her and kidnap her and take her back to his place. And, you know, he doesn't really know what he wants to do with her because he wants more information from her, but she doesn't have any information because her and her father have like no relationship. He doesn't trust her with stuff. And so she's actually sympathetic to what he's going through and everything. And she wants to help him, but he doesn't fully trust her. And, so, like, it's a pretty light captive because he really holds her in this basement for, like, a little bit, then gives her own room. Like, he's got 2 chefs on staff. Like, he's got a bodyguard watching her, and she's, like, just chilling by the pool. He's like, just treat this like a vacation. And so it's a pretty light captive, but they are really attracted to each other, and it definitely takes it to the next level when she will be like bratty, and he's really into daddy kink. And so the daddy kink, it's like the whole book. But I will say, I'm not usually a fan of daddy kink. I'm not really into it. But I actually really liked it in this because it wasn't like over the top daddy kink, and it was more about the punishment, spankings, and her being a brat and all of that kind of stuff. So it was a good time. So basically, like, they do a lot of that while she's there, and we have like suspense elements of like what's going on. Was it really her dad? And trying to get to the bottom of it. And will he be able to keep her? I will say this is very insta-love. I think it takes place over like 5 days, but I really liked it. Their chemistry was off the charts. It was very interesting. I liked all the brothers. I'm interested to continue with this series for sure. So I had a great time with it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and then it was 4 chilies. There is a lot of spice in this and some good times. So content warnings were like the kidnapping, dubcon. There is some weird stuff with period play. Like, he doesn't care that she's on her period, and he takes it to like a different level. So just be prepared. And then attempted essay. I will say the reason I was almost like at a 4-star, 4.5, but I put this up to a 5-star because of the praise. I mean, this man's praising was, it was amazing. I love praise. If you know me, you know me. I love praise. I hate degradation. And this guy was 100% praise, and he was great at it. So I loved the praise. But anyways, 5 stars for that one. Okay, so then I had an ALC, and I totally forgot when this was due. So literally the day we were flying home, I got an email from Must Love Audio about like, oh, your audio's due today. I hadn't even listened to it yet. So I was like, oh no. So I had to hurry, and I basically listened to this audiobook on the flight home. I had to really up the speed to get through it quicker because I don't want to lose my access to Must Love Audio at all. But this is Unholy Obsession by Stasia Black. This is the third book in the Carnal Game series. I read the second book and it was like a bodyguard. This is like set around like kind of like a BDSM sex club type of thing. And these are like the regulars that go there. The second one was like a bodyguard one. And I really loved it. I didn't feel like I had to read the previous book, but this book, you need to read book one because there's stuff that goes on with the heroine's brother in that one, and they have a falling out, and I just felt completely lost. Like I was missing a lot of the plot and like the history of the characters. So I will tell you, you shouldn't read this one as a standalone because I felt confused. And like I was missing a lot. So I would definitely read the first book before you get to this one. But this is between Bane and Moira. And Moira is basically a sex addict. And she lives a pretty chaotic and wild, risky lifestyle. And she's into the whole BDSM atmosphere, but she hasn't really been able to get off or enjoy sex recently after her falling out with her brother. And she's just having a difficult time. Her and this guy, Bane, that he had like a mask on, they ended up having BDSM experience at the club and she really enjoyed it. Bane is actually a priest. She doesn't know that because he had a mask and everything, but he ends up getting kind of like stalking her for a bit because he gets interested in her. And, he ends up getting her kind of like out of a risky situation, and they kind of end up going back to his place, and they decide to kind of have like a BDSM relationship. It's quickly revealed that he's the Bane from like the club to her. And he's a Episcopal priest, so like they don't have vows of like chastity, so it wasn't like he couldn't be with anybody. But obviously the church wouldn't really know about his BDSM lifestyle. So they end up starting this BDSM relationship. He like gives her like kind of like a chastity belt, like things she has to stop, not have sex. This is mostly sex. So like this book was long. I think it's like almost 600 pages, like 500 something pages. And it was mostly sex. So that kind of detracted it for me. I didn't think it needed to be this long. And, I don't know, I had the issues with like not understanding the history. And also like there was a third act suspense, third act breakup that I just thought was kind of over the top. It felt a little disjointed. And I didn't connect to the side characters and the suspense plot. But again, it had stuff to do with like his father, because his father's super rich and he doesn't want his son with this woman. So he's trying to get involved in breaking them up. But then it also had stuff to do with like the first book. So I just felt like I was missing a lot. I will say the audiobook was fantastic. This was duet narrated by Shane East and Willa James, and Shane East's performance in this was phenomenal. Like he acted his freaking heart out. He's so passionate in his scenes. He's very sexy in the sex scenes, but also very emotional. Like I just love Shane East so much. And the other thing that saved this too, where I wasn't going to rate it that great, I ended up giving this a 4-star because of how good the audiobook was, and also the journey that Moira goes on with her mental health. I really appreciated that because she does discover that she finally gets diagnosed as bipolar. She was never acknowledging it because she gets herself into such risky situations and gets arrested, and when she's in her manic phases. And so it was like dealing with her going through the medication and it changing her personality and her not liking who she was and being afraid he wouldn't love her, the new her that's like medicated. And so I really appreciated that representation in this book, and I thought it was a good journey. I also loved Bane's character. He was very swoony and really like all in on her. So I did appreciate that. So I ended up giving it 4 stars and 3.5 chilies. Okay, we're only halfway through. This is going to be a long video. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so the next one that I had was an arc, and this was one of my most highly anticipated ones because it is part of a trilogy, and this is The Sun and Her Burn by Giana Darling. This is for the Impossible Universe trilogy. This is the second book. I think the first one was, I think, The Moon and His Tides. We get introduced to Sebastian, Adam, and Savannah, and they have an MMF relationship. Things fall apart at the end of that, and they are not together anymore. And, you know, at that, like, Adam was a movie star. Savannah was like kind of like this woman that's very like about society and like was his behind the scenes woman that had her hands in his career and was very obsessed with his career. She's like a very driven woman, and they were married, and they basically invited Sebastian, who was young. I think he was like 18 at the time. He was a chauffeur. He wants to be a movie star. He wrote his own script. He's got a lot of talent, but he is undiscovered. And they basically invite him into their marriage. But Adam is in the closet. I think it's Adam, right? Yes. Okay. Adam is in the closet. And so when things get like teased that he might be gay, he basically has to end things, and they like cut it off with Sebastian, who had his heart broken because he's very a romantic kind of guy. And so it was a very sad ending. This picks up 10 years after that. And Sebastian is a huge movie star. I think he's an Oscar winner, if I'm remembering correctly. You know, he's a huge star. Adam is still a huge star. He was like a British, one of the best movie stars. But he has not spoken to Adam for 10 years, even though they run into each other at events. Like, they don't speak to each other. He does kind of slowly have a friendship with Savannah, because what was devastating at the end of that one, like, he kind of asked Savannah to leave with him, to be with him too. And she didn't, because she's so obsessed with like cultivating Adam's career and them as a couple. And then 6 months later, she left Adam. So Adam was like completely left, demoralized, like just devastated after that breakup. And Savannah immediately married another up and like high, like I think he's like a producer, has his own production company. So if you can't tell by the way I'm talking about Savannah, I did not like Savannah. So The Moon and His Tides was really good. It was an erotic romance. It was super spicy, but I did not like Savannah. I loved Adam. I loved Sebastian. I thought their romance was amazing. I felt like she was just there to bring them together. She was very selfish and wanted it all about her. She didn't appreciate them together. I didn't really like her. And so Giana had written a comment on my post, because I am on her ARC team. And she did say like, oh, just trust what I'm doing with this story. Trust what I'm doing with Savannah. And sure enough, in this book, we're switching up the heroine. And it was genius, because that's a really risky move to do. And so I think Giana did a really good job setting up Savannah where you're not totally hating her. I hate her now. Let me just say, I hate her now. But, you know, you're kind of like, oh, is she like an unlikable character? Because you never really got her POV. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe in the second one we'll get her POV. We'll understand her better or something. And so it kind of leaves you guessing. And then now we have a new heroine come in the picture, which is Linnea. And she was actually friends with Sebastian when he was with that couple. Her mother was a big soap opera, big star, that was best friends with Savannah. And so she became friends with Sebastian, and she was like 16, he was 18. So she kind of crushed on him, but never really thought anything could happen. But they've been friends for these 10 years. They would just write through letters and stuff. And now she's in LA. She used to be in like Hawaii too, where her father lived. And, you know, she's a surfer girl. She's just this amazing ray of sunshine and a free spirit. And she just made this book for me. I loved Linnea so much. She's such an amazing character, and the exact opposite of that stupid bitch Savannah. So she ends up being the perfect woman for these guys, because she ends up coming to LA. She's taking care of her mother, who had, oh God, I can't remember what it's called, like temporal, like it's like a frontal dementia. So it's like she's there taking care of her mother, who was a horrible mother to her, but she still wants to take care of her mother, and she's not alone. So she's working a couple jobs, trying to become an actress. And so she ends up running into Sebastian, and they like kind of rekindle their friendship. And then at the same time, another story comes out about Adam being gay. This guy is coming out, going to expose that they had a relationship. He's saying he has a sex tape he's threatening to release. And so Sebastian really feels for him and wants to help him. And even though they haven't talked to him forever, he shows up because he has an idea to have Linnea be his like fake girlfriend so that they could get rid of these rumors. And then in that happening, it would help Linnea's career. She could get money because obviously they would do a contract. This stuff happens in Hollywood. And she would have enough money to get her mother the proper treatment and where she wouldn't be overworking herself and she could focus on becoming an actress. She also does her own designs and she's just amazing. So Adam agrees to this and they put a contract up, and Adam's really kind of like has his walls up. He's still in love with Sebastian and wants his forgiveness. Sebastian has to like forgive him. And now he was like starting to fall for Linnea, but he didn't think that he could be with her because he gave his heart to 2 other people way back. And so he offered this up, but then now she's like kind of doing this fake relationship with Adam. He like wants her too. And so they all kind of like want to be together. Because Linnea starts to really be interested in Adam too. And, you know, it's just amazing because this is a story of like healing too. Like she helps bring these 2 guys back to each other, but she's also an integral part of that relationship. So I never felt like she was just the thing that brought them together like I did with Savannah. I really believed in their connection, and she was just so loving to both of them. She was the opposite of Savannah, where like Savannah was like always about herself, always about like what she wanted, all these kind of things. She never supported their relationship too. And Linnea loves it. She loves seeing them together. She loves how much love they have for each other, and she'll like want to watch them together. She doesn't get jealous. And so it's just the perfect thing of these 3 coming together. But again, it's like Adam doesn't want to come out as gay. He's hiding who he is. So there's a complication of like Sebastian being with them and them all committing to each other, but like he's still the hidden guy again. And that's just heartbreaking for Sebastian. And Linnea's like, well, maybe down the line we can all like be out in public and be together. I don't know. There's just so much to this. Sorry, I'm running on and on about this, and this video is already long. But I just want to emphasize that this book like redeemed this trilogy to me, because I hated Savannah and I hate her even more now. And Linnea was perfection the way she was. She was so honest and giving and loving and loyal, and she was perfect for these 2 guys. They really needed her, and they really all need each other. And so it's a much slower burn. The previous book was like sex off the back, the whole the whole book. But this was like a slower burn to them all coming together and being together. And then like each of the sex scenes felt like, especially like the last couple, felt like emotional, and they were making love, and it was like a really connection between everybody. And then of course it's super fucking spicy. There's, you know, sharing, double penetration, you know, a lot of butt play. Like it's good. It's spicy. So I freaking loved this one. I loved it. The last one I gave like 4 stars. This one was a 5-star. I almost wanted to give it a 6-star, but I want to wait for the conclusion because we leave off on another frustrating cliffhanger, but you knew it was going to happen. It's a trilogy. I knew Giana was going to like break our hearts again and fuck with us again. But I am so excited to see what she does with this last book. And I think the last book comes out in December, because I know a lot of you won't want to read this yet till it's concluded. You don't want to deal with the cliffhangers and waiting for the next one. So I think I think it's coming out at the end of the year in December. So if you are interested and you want to wait, it's going to be out then. But fantastic book, 5 stars. And I think I gave it 4 chilies. It is super spicy. It is amazing. I love Giana Darling. She's so poetic. Her writing just like captures me. It's very beautiful. And I just really love these 3. Each one of them is amazing. So anyways, I need to stop gushing because this is too long of a video, and let's get to the next one. Okay. So the next one I had was an ALC, and this took me a while to get through too, because I started it when we were in Hawaii and I didn't finish it till I got back. I had to like jump to that other one that I forgot to do. So, yeah. So this one was Unbroken by Jane Henry. It is a Bratva mafia romance. I've never read Jane Henry before, but I wanted to give it a shot. This felt like it was connected to another series, but I was trying to figure out, like, it didn't show what series it was, like, on Goodreads, so I wasn't positive where this lies. But this is between Vodka and Ruthie, and Vodka is the Bratva enforcer, and he is a single dad. He's in a really dark place because his wife was brutally murdered by the Irish, and, you know, he's really just trying to he's really struggling dealing with that. And Ruthie was his wife's sister, so they're all really close. Ruthie had actually kind of had a crush on him before her sister got together with him, but then she was like, okay, well, that can never happen. So nothing weird of her like pining after him, but like through their grief and like kind of trauma bonding together, she also helps out with his son and you know, trying to get him to be okay. They start to really fall for each other, and then the Irish are back like threatening again. So there's a lot of like, this is where I had a problem with the book. Was I liked the romance, I liked the characters, but the Irish and the mafias felt very like all over the place. It didn't, I guess we're leaving it on a cliffhanger with the Irish stuff where it'll get figured out in a different book. But I felt very confused and very like disconnected from that mafia storyline. I think she needed to work more on that. Otherwise it was a decent book. But I was also surprised. I never read her before, but like it was almost closed door sex scenes. I mean, there was one where it kind of did it, but it's like they're about to do it and then it's like, oh, okay. And then we're all sweaty and I'm like, wait, what'd you do? And so there is an accidental pregnancy in this, and I was so confused. Maybe it's because I kept jumping in and out of the audiobook too. But I was like, when did they have sex? Like, how is there a time jump here? Like, how is she already pregnant? I was confused, but that might have been a me problem with where I was at reading it. So, but I did end up giving it 4 stars. It was narrated by Kai Kennicott and Wen Rose, which were new to me narrators. They did really good with like the Russian accents, and it was a good audiobook. So 4 stars, and I think I gave it 2.5 chilies, but I don't even know if it's 2.5 chilies. Okay, so then I read Ravensong by TJ Klune. I just posted a vlog where I did Wolfsong, and Wolfsong was a 6-star read for me. I was so blown away by this book by Wolfsong, and I immediately bought Ravensong, and I actually did get this on Libby, and so I was annotating this to, I don't even know, I'm like all over the place with my hands here. I'm a mess, you guys. So I was annotating this. I actually started this on the plane ride thinking I would do it in Hawaii, and I never got to it in Hawaii. So I finished it after we got back from Hawaii. And this is continuing this story. So in Wolfsong, we have, it's an MM romance between a wolf and a human. And there's so much that goes on to it. Check out my vlog if you're interested. I'll remember to put it up here if I remember. Check that out. It was my most recent video. So I go into that book into great detail, and I actually did do a vlog for this one, so it'll be coming soon. I'm gonna try and mix some Hawaii footage if I can into it, but this one is basically picking up with Gordo and Mark's romance. So Gordo was the witch for the pack. He was, from a very young age, his dad was the witch for this pack, and he actually turned bad when he lost his tether, which I'm not going to go all deep into this because this video is too long. So, and it's going to be, you can check out the vlog for more information, but his dad went psycho and like went bad, and he was like kind of kept in a magical cage. He gets out, and so he's kind of like a bad guy that's still out there after they beat the bad guy from the first book. And so Gordo became the witch for them at a really young age because of what his dad did. He has tattoos that they like would hold him down and do the tattoos because they're kind of like magical and help bind his magic so he can control it better. And he's the raven, so he's got this raven on him that's like his tattoos will move and glow. It's just really, really cool. And Mark was actually his mate. Mark is one of the werewolves, and they were like they were like friends. Mark would follow him around and like want to protect him when they were younger. But things go down where in that book, when they even before Wolfsong, when they were younger, they had to leave because the Thomas was supposed to be the head of all the werewolves, and they had to leave town, and they left Gordo behind. And so Gordo felt completely abandoned. Because he was a human and a witch, and who his father was, they left him. And so he is very angry, didn't want to be part of the pack, didn't want anything to do with Mark. And so this is like a second chance romance of, Gordo finally like letting that go and accepting Mark. And then we have issues with these Omega wolves showing up, which those are the wolves that have completely lost their tethers and their humanity, and they turn like rabid. And feral wolves, basically. And there's something happening with that too, even more. There's a lot more going on. I don't want to get into all that, but I will say I loved this book. Now, it's not quite a 6-star for me. Gordo can be really frustrating because he put them through so much hell for so many years when he could have just gotten over it and been with Mark. But there were so many beautiful moments. This writing is just phenomenal. He writes really character-driven, beautiful books where like you're emotionally connected to all these side characters too. There's so many characters you just love that when things go down, I got so emotional and I was crying yet again in this one. So I gave this one 5 stars, and I think I gave it 3 chilies. It took a long time to get to their sex scene, but it was hot. I definitely loved this. I can't wait to read the next one to see where we're going because his father is still out there. And things are getting crazy. So, can't wait to read the next one, and the vlog will be coming soon. Okay. I got to go through these quickly because this is a long video. Okay, so then I had an ALC. I listened to Spark by Lauren Rowe. This is a rock star romance, and I am not usually a fan of rock star romance. I hate how it's always like a sleazy sex, like crazed or man-ho, or lots of drugs and alcohol and craziness, and I just always kind of like check out with that. But I loved this book. Like, this is a sweet cinnamon roll hero that has been pining after this woman since he was 16 years old. He's been in love with her. So this is about Kendrick and Ruby. They are in the same band together. When they were 16, Kendrick was like a football star, kind of in the band, mostly going to plan to go into football. That was like where he was really going, but he really was crushing hard on Ruby. And so he offered her like to audition for his band so he could spend more time with her. And when his bandmates were like kind of accusing him of doing that, he had to like play it off like he wasn't. And then she started to kind of crush on his brother. So he was like, they kind of came up with the thing of her being like, you can't touch her, can't be with her because it'll mess up the band, because he didn't want her to be with his brother. So that led to them being friends for many years. And I think they're in their late 20s now. They're a very successful band. His football career didn't pan out because he had an injury, but he is the drummer of the band. And he's just been pining after her. It's unrequited love in his eyes, Little does he know that Ruby actually did, not when she was 16, but a little bit older, realized she wanted to be with him. And things didn't work out, so she thought he wasn't into her and all this stuff. But they have such a beautiful friendship. He's so good. They're just so close. So I just love that. This is like a true friends to lovers, just like mutual pining, more pining, boy obsessed stuff. And it was just really, really cute. So what ends up happening is Ruby breaks up with her boyfriend, and he writes a diss song on her. And the song, this is what's amazing. This audiobook includes music too. So like, it actually plays the song that her ex-boyfriend wrote about her. And it's amazing, you guys. Like, the audiobooks that Lauren Rowe, I only listened to one other one, but I'm guessing she does these series for all of hers, because for her like Rockstar ones, because she has like music included in it and just takes the audiobook up to a whole other level, and it's so entertaining. So this song actually accuses her of like actually being in love with her brother. He's like a brother to me, and screaming his name in your bed and like in your dreams. And so he's like, oh my God, I think he's talking about me. And then she ends up like kissing Kendrick, like when they're on camera and stuff, to kind of be an FU to that guy. And then they're also going to be a part of like this music competition. It's kind of like The Voice type of thing, I'm guessing, because I think it was brought up in other books. And they are like guest judges or kind of help or something. I can't remember, but they actually tell them like, yeah, you should fake date for the show to add more, you know, because her ex-boyfriend is going to be on that show too. So they end up like kind of doing a fake dating thing, and she's staying with him because her place had some like, I think a flood or something going on where she has work being done on her place. And so now Kendrick is taking the opportunity to like win her over and get out of the fucking friend zone. Like he wants out of it. And it's just so funny, the conversations he has with his best friend about he needs to stop being a golden retriever and he needs to be like a Doberman and just like act like he wants a fling with her so that she won't freak out, and then win her over that way. And so it was just so cute. What I love most about this is like when things come to light, there's no like anger. There's no like third act breakup. There's no third act drama. It's like they talk about it. They understand where each other was coming from, and they just work through it, and they're together. And I just loved that. So I adored this one. It was one of my favorite Rockstar romances that I've read, and it was so sweet. The Friends to Lovers was just perfect. Honestly, Friends to Lovers I'm very picky on, and this one was really good. So this audiobook, I'm telling you, get the freaking audiobook if you're going to get this, because it was so good. It had multiple songs in it. He's a drummer. The other book I listened to was, I think, The Finding Home, I think it was called. And it had like, he was a drummer too, and it's like drumming in the background. So it's really cool. But this audiobook had duet narration, and it had a full cast. So it had Austin Stone and Samantha Brentmore as the main characters, and also featured Connor Craze, John Lane, Sean Masters, and Tim Page. So audiobook, highly recommend. Get that audiobook. Okay, so that one was 5 stars and 3.5 chilies. They even use they really get after it sexually once they decide to start hooking up. Like they use toys. He actually does like DP, like using a vibrator like a toy with her. So I thought that was really cool. They do some role play. It's really, really cute. Okay, so then I had another ALC, and this is just One More Affair. This is by Carly Phillips. This is the 5th book in the Sterling family. I haven't read any of the other books in this series, so you could definitely go into this as a standalone. I really loved this. It is very cute, low angst, billionaire. It's accidental pregnancy, and I had it's really quick too. I think it's like only like a 6-hour or something audiobook, so it's very quick. And this is between Charlotte, she goes by Charlie, and she actually, and Jared Sterling, he's like the billionaire, and she actually had a one-night stand, like, I think it was 9 or 10 years ago, and it ended up with her having an accidental pregnancy. She had twins with Noah, who I'm understanding is a character from one of the previous books. And they weren't ever together, but they co-parented, and so she had twins. Well, she's an archaeologist. She's been focusing on her career, but she's still, you know, a part of her kids' lives. They just share custody. And so she actually comes to her baby's daddy's wedding, and she ends up having a one-night stand again with Jared, and he's just this sexy billionaire. He's super hot. They have a great one-night stand, but lo and behold, she gets pregnant again. And so she's like, oh my God, like, how could this happen to me twice? And so she returns home She decided that, or kind of already decided, she wanted to stop doing her archaeology and kind of be more home based so that she could be around her twins more. And then now she for sure wants to do that. So she has returned home. And then when she tells Jared, like, this man, the way he responded was amazing. He was accepting. He never questioned anything. He is 100% on board from the jump. He wants to support her and help her. She is very like independent woman, like kind of fighting that, but like eventually she like lets that loose, because I mean, come on, you got a billionaire that wants to take care of you. Take it. So it was super sweet. And we do have a suspense element because her brother is a drug addict and he's kind of bringing some shady characters into her life. And so Jared just really wants to protect her. The one thing that I'll say is one of my favorite things about this book was how amazing the co-parenting was. How she was like friends with Noah. She was close with his wife and they were friendly, and it's just nice to see that in a romance where it's not the evil ex and the evil woman and the other woman drama. It's like, you know, you can co-parent and be okay and get along with them, and I just really liked seeing that. So I really loved this. It was super sweet, low angst, good time. This one was narrated by Connor Craze and Samantha Cook, and it was fantastic. So I ended up giving that one 5 stars and 2.5 chilies. I told you guys I had a lot of 5 stars. I had a lot of good books. I'm just probably in a really good mood. Maybe this next week I won't be in as positive as a place when I go back to work. Okay, you guys, last book. We're here. And there's going to be a vlog for this one, so I'm going to make this quick because this was actually a 12 rec from 12 friends. And this was Drawn to Darkness by Michelle Hurd. This is the 4th book in the Kings of Mafia series. Addicted to Romance, somebody I follow on Goodreads and Instagram, and she had recommended this for my 12 recs from 12 friends. So that's why I had been reading the previous books in the series before I got to this one, because I like to read them in order, even though you definitely don't need to read these in order. They're like 4 or 5 different head of like the Cosa Nostra families, you know, these guys that are like friends and the head of the mafia. So in this one, we have Dario and Eden, and Dario is honestly, I think they say he's like the heart of the Cosa Nostra, because he is like the sweetest one. He's very romantic and sweet, and he is like a sniper. He, you know, sniper shooter, but he's more into like hacking and doing like that kind of stuff in the Cosa Nostra. And he actually owns a ballet studio and also I think an opera house, if I'm remembering correctly. And we have Eden, and she is actually comes from nothing, man. She has a horrible mother that was just shitty, that ruined her life. She works multiple jobs. She works like 2 shifts at a restaurant. Then she's also the janitor at the ballet studio. And she will take that opportunity at night to be able to dance. She never had any formal training or anything, but she just loves to dance. And so that's how he finds her dancing there. And he becomes really intrigued by her, but she can't let him know who she really is because she thinks he'll fire her. She's the janitor and she's like dancing in the studio and he's like the owner of it. But he's really trying to figure out who she is, and he eventually kind of corners her, makes her go to coffee with him, and he like gets her number and wants to date her. So she does finally kind of decide to do that. And it's just really sweet. I mean, this guy is the swooniest, sweetest, like mafia guy. Like he really wants to take care of her. The way he responds when he finds out the truth was great. He's just so protective. I go into it on my vlog, but he was so swoony. I thought, wow, this is like the sweetest mafia romance. And then it does have some dark elements that come into play because of like a kidnapping and who kidnaps her and stuff to do with her mother. He definitely takes protecting her and dealing with her mother to another level. But I didn't mind it because I hated her mom. So that's all I'll say about it. I don't know when I'm going to put that vlog up. I have so many videos I'm behind in posting because of the vacation, because I was supposed to post more when I was gone and I didn't. So anyways, I really enjoyed that one. And again, I gave it 5 stars, you guys. I don't know. I just was having a great time with it. I was listening to it while I cleaned the house, and I listened to it super fast. It's a very quick audiobook. Like, honestly, like, I think I usually listen at 2.5 speed. So I think I listened to it in 2.5, 3 hours. So it's a really quick audiobook. Those are really fun, sweet little mafia romances. So definitely recommend. And then 3 chilies, if I didn't say that. I don't remember. Anyways, this is like an hour long. I don't know. It's a long video, but I did good, you guys. I got my 2 weeks in here, and now I'll be back to my regular weekly wrap-ups. So thank you so much for watching this. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm really trying to grow this, trying to build this channel up, and I appreciate all your support. Leave me a comment, like the video, and I will see you guys on the next one.